as well today. We have our very own Miss Kaylin England, ICON Agent with eXp Realty. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here, John. You're such an inspiration to me, so it really means a lot to have me on the call, and thanks everyone for coming.
Yes. So tell us who you are, how you got started in real estate.
So a bit about me, I've been a realtor for 5 years now. I joined eXp Realty in August 2019. I'm an ICON agent now, which is so exciting that I'm getting paid my commission back in shares in the company. That was my goal. So that's the goal to carry on every year. What got me here, I took my honors degree in business at Okanagan College. And then I ended up doing a 6-month volunteer program, did a diploma in international relations, went to Mozambique. That was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. And then I ended up working in the oil sands until 2015. So I bought my first house when I was 25.
Wow.
Put in a basement suite, rented out the upstairs, and that kind of got my love for real estate investing and everything going. I always wanted to be a realtor. My grandma was actually a realtor.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember driving around in her car, singing along to music, and we're like going in the trunk and her signs are back there and everything. So that was kind of cool, but I wanted to wait until I actually had experience myself. So then I got laid off in 2015 when oil tanked from the oil sands. So I started working at a local company, but it was kind of a dead end job. They kept me on 6-month contracts, and on the end of the 3rd contract, they told me they weren't going to renew it. Wow. So then I took my exam and went full-time into real estate. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that I didn't have anything to fall back on, and I just had to go full-time straight into real estate.
Yeah, how important do you think that is for, agents considering, or aspiring agents considering getting into real estate? Like, is it better to go full-time, both feet in, or is it better to have a cushion and have a full-time job and then do part-time real estate? What do you think?
Personally, I think that I needed the full-time because I had a good salary when I worked up north. I guess it wasn't as good when I worked locally, but I feel like if I had that to rely on, I wouldn't have tried as hard and I wouldn't have had as much time also.
Gotcha. So really, the best thing to do in real estate is to become full-time right away.
I think so. You have so much opportunity, and I think that the quicker that you can work on it, the faster you'll get to your goals.
Right. You can allocate all your energy and time into just focusing on making sales in real estate. And I think it's so important. But I also get it. Like, if people need that cushion in order to get started, if they don't have 6 months of savings to come into real estate, then they might need that full-time job. Did you have a cushion of 6 months savings, or did you just like blindly come into real estate?
I was fortunate. So when I worked in the oil sands, I did save because they would fly me out there and then I would stay in camp, and then I was able to save most of my money unless I went shopping or something like that. But I didn't have to buy groceries or anything like that out there. So it was really easy to save. And then you do work so much overtime that you're making more than you would at home. So I had that. And then I also was fortunate to have a partner, and we moved in together when I started real estate. So I was really lucky in both ways. I had him if there was a bad month or something. And then I also had my savings.
Okay, so savings and a partner that you support each other.
Yeah.
So when you got into real estate, first couple of years, was it easy, or was it like a grind, like most of us, if we have no mentorship or anybody to rely on?
I think it was a bit of a grind and a hustle. I definitely tried everything that all the different coaching companies would tell you. So I would door knock and do open houses and tell 20 before the open houses and all of that. But I felt like I was lacking confidence. I was lucky and I made a sale right away. My first 2 sales, one was my mom's cousin, and then the other one was my friend's parents. So I was really lucky that I had people in my sphere of influence that trusted me already, and they knew that I was a hard worker. So I was lucky that I was able to make those sales quickly. But I felt like I was lacking confidence when I was talking to strangers. So I think I tried a lot of things that maybe didn't work for me and my personality. And I think that working with my database is really what got me going in the business.
Gotcha. And you were born and raised in Okanagan?
I was born at the coast, but my parents moved here when I was 6 months old. So I grew up in Vernon, and then I
Okay.
moved to Kelowna in 2014.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And then immediately after that, you started real estate. So you didn't really have a big sphere if you only moved by 2014.
Yeah, I did do some courses in college.
Okay.
In Vernon, there's a campus in Vernon and Kelowna. So I did a couple classes in Kelowna. So I had a couple of connections from there. And then when I moved here, I did go into like all sports and tried to network and do some stuff there. So I did have a little bit of a base, but it's definitely
Mhm.
grown a lot more since I've
For
grown the
sure.
business. Actually, I've made a lot of friends with different lawyers and mortgage brokers and stuff like that. So
Oh,
that's expanded my database as well.
that's awesome. So were you involved in any networking groups or did you just meet them by way of doing business out there naturally?
I actually was the marketing director for Kelowna Women in Business for 2 years. So we
Okay.
put on events around once a month. And then we, at the end of the year, we would donate all the proceeds to a local charity. So I met a lot of people through that.
Oh, perfect. So it's just something just that you did out of contribution. It wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna go here because I'm a realtor, so I can make contacts, right?
Yeah, I always like to give back. So even in high school and college, I was doing lots of fundraisers and volunteering for the
Good
local
for you.
different charities. And in college, I was in a huge, I was in Enactus, it's called now, but it was called SIFE at the time. And it's kind of um, students that do fundraisers and give back to the community. So yeah, I've just
Gotcha.
always been interested in that.
That's very good. So in your first couple of years, it was all about your sphere supporting you. And you had this organization that you contributed to and volunteered at that had you meet more people. That's
Exactly.
good. That's good. And so in your first couple of years, how many transactions, how many families did you help your first year?
My first year was 11. I got my license on
Wow,
Valentine's Day. And
that's really
then,
good.
yeah,
Awesome. And then second year?
I believe it was 14. And then it went
Okay.
to 20 something.
Wow. So gradual. It was
Mhm.
gradual. Now, the third year, 14, that's when you joined EXP, correct?
I was around 20, yeah, when I
Okay.
joined
Okay,
EXP.
perfect. And you then doubled your business.
Almost, yeah. And well, I guess in the anniversary, my last anniversary year was just over 40 deals, but the
Wow.
calendar year, it was 30 something. So I guess
Okay.
it depends which way we look at it. Yeah.
You doubled your business in 1 year. What do you think contributed to that?
Well, I hired a coach, which
Okay.
was helpful. And then just being around the group at EXP, I plugged into all of your calls, the Tuesday and Wednesday calls every
Thank
week. And
you.
that I feel like I just took on a lot of information and I don't know if like I do feel like I would grow every year regardless because I'm always striving to do more and learn more. But I feel like being around top producing agents, it helped me to be better and think better and just have better conversations. And working with people at a higher level, it really helped my business.
Yeah, so hanging around with people who are doing a lot more than you pulled you forward in your production. I think that's just natural. You are the average of the five people that you hang out with the most. And we hung out, but through Zoom in the past like 2 3 years, right? So I think that has definitely helped. But backing up to your first year, second year, 11 deals and 14 deals. I mean, that's actually really, really good for a new agent, right? And was it all Sphere, all those transactions, or did you have other sources as well?
Most of it was Sphere. I had a couple online leads. I was using Agent Locator.
Okay, agent locator, good, awesome, awesome. So basically Sphere and then online leads. And what does it look like today? How you're able to help 40 families and where do they come from? All those transactions.
It's still mostly Sphere, to be honest.
Okay, okay.
And then, yeah, now I'm starting to get some repeat clients and then referrals from my past clients, which is like the biggest yeah, most grateful for that. I do still do online leads through, I use some KV Core and Facebook ads,
Oh,
but the
nice.
majority of my business is still through my database.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So what do you think is your best practice to cultivate that database?
Well, I guess what I was doing was an annual like holiday party.
Oh, okay.
And
Holiday party.
then
How have you been doing that ever since you started, or have you been doing that only for a couple years?
um, I think this is the third. Well, actually, I skipped last year,
Of
or
course.
not last year, but the year before. So we did one in 2021.
Oh, nice.
We had a photographer come out and we did like family photos for people for the holiday. And then we had like local bakery treats and then apple cider. So that was
Nice.
fun. The year before, with COVID being kind of weird, we didn't do anything that year, but the year before that we went to a winery. So
Oh,
I
nice.
guess I've done 2 of them so far. And then on top of that, just trying to keep in communication by calling them every quarter and going for lunch with some of them. I usually
Mm,
go for lunch with like my top referral partners or like my AID clients.
awesome. So you really follow a system, calling them once a quarter, taking out your top referral clients, and also giving back to your clients by treating them to a nice party.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's really important. I think that's understated. So that's really, really good practice. And guys, if you're not calling your past clients in center of influence every quarter, you're making a mistake. That's how you build it. And you got to call your top clients at least once a month, and lunches, coffees, you got to do it. You're pounding the pavement. You're building that database. And the client parties, I think, are a must. I only started doing them 10 years into the business. I wish I had done them way, way earlier. Any struggles as you were a new agent coming up?
I think the biggest struggle, well, there's probably 2. One is time management. I'm a bit of a workaholic, but then
Hmm.
I almost sometimes get more productive after dinner when I should be hanging out with my husband. So
Right?
one of my things that I'm working on now is work-life balance and really stopping work at a certain time, unless I'm in an offer or there's an emergency, of course, but just stopping work around dinner time and spending the last couple hours of the day with my husband. And then the other thing is just managing clients' expectations. I think it's important to communicate upfront with them, just
Hmm.
to let them know, because people, they're busy too. They're working. Once they get off work, talk to their partner at dinner, then they want to start texting about all their ideas. So if
Yeah.
that's the time that I'm trying to take off as well, then I just need to clearly communicate that with them just so that they're
Yeah.
happy through the process as well.
That's true. Yeah. Setting your expectations with your clients. Like, this is the time I work. This is the time that I don't work.
Mhm.
That this is me time. Talking about setting expectations as the market is changing. I don't know how it's like in Kelowna, but we just had a 50%, sorry, not 50%, 0.5% increase in rates today. How are you managing clients' expectations given that it's changing with the interest rates?
Well, I think for buyers, I've had a couple that because they had rate holds, they're rushing to buy now before the rates go up anymore. And
Hmm.
then for sellers, a lot of them, I'm seeing a lot of listings now. So it seems like a lot of people are trying to jump on the bandwagon because the
Hmm.
market's good. So I do see a little bit of a shift here as well. It's still definitely a seller's market, but I think we do need to have that conversation with our clients as well, that things are changing a little bit and buyers have more options now.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think all of us on this call really got to pay attention to that, and start making those calls this week, like today, starting today, letting them know, hey, this is what's happened today. Do you have any questions for me? Right? I think that's providing a lot of value, and you can set expectations with that as well. So awesome. Well, you got 40 transactions last year. How about this year? What are you on track for right now after Q1?
This year, hopefully around 50.
Ooh,
I
nice.
actually got stuck in Mexico in January. So
Oh. And you still did, you're still on track for 50.
I think I'm a
Wow.
little bit like it would be around 44, but I'm going to try to catch up. I feel like actually we'll see what happens with like more the market shifting a little bit, but I'd say normally May, June, like maybe March to June are usually busy
The
months.
busiest
So,
for you? Okay. Okay, got it. Yeah. So January didn't really matter then.
well, I actually really lucked out. Some of my partners at EXP helped me out and I referred a couple clients. So there were still some
Nice.
sales made, which is really awesome because I want to start a team. So that was kind of like practice for me. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. See, that's what EXP does for you. It's like, although they're not on your team, but they're willing to help.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
benefits everyone too, right?
That's awesome. So the next step is building a team. What do you think your team will look like 5 to 10 years from now?
Well, right now I have a full-time admin that's working with me, and the goal for this year is to bring on a partner agent to work with me. In 5 to 10 years, we're trying to start a family. So my plan
Okay.
is to have a team going with some good structure and systems so that when we do have young kids, I can be home with them a little bit, but then the business continues going.
That's right. That's right. And I can help. I can help you with that. Yeah.
Thank you. I need some tips.
That's awesome. So yeah, your production is increasing every year and you're working hard. You're so calm all the time. How do you deal with stress, or do you ever get stressed out?
I do get stressed. I think that I am calm when I'm talking to my clients, and then when I get off the phone, my family can see how stressed I am.
Is there anything that you do specifically to de-stress yourself?
Well, I'm working on, and this is another thing that I'm always constantly working on. That's my morning and evening routine.
Okay.
Yeah, having a little bit of exercise in the morning starts out the day good with some endorphins, and then
Awesome.
journaling as well, I think is important.
Mhm.
I bought a journal that prompts me for gratitudes and my intention for the day. So I get
Oh,
to have some positive self-talk before the day starts, which is nice. And then at the end of the day,
great.
there's a little bit of self-reflection.
Is that like someone that you followed as a system, or did you just think of it yourself and like, just I just need to journal, so I gotta get a journal for myself?
Well, it probably came from my real estate coach. I've heard it so many times over the years,
Yep.
but I would always fall on and off of doing my journaling. And usually I would just use like a blank lined journal. But this time I
Mhm.
actually found a journal that like prompts with different things to talk about. So
Right. What is it
that's
called? What is this journal called?
I actually don't know. I can find it and send it to you. I actually got it at Home Sense, so it wasn't like one that I researched online. I actually just happened
Okay.
to find it while I was thinking about journaling. So
That's so cute. Home Sense. That's awesome. So right now, do you have a coach?
I do. I am working with Jess Lunaval from Seven Figure Agent. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's from Ontario.
Oh,
And the program is all about implementing systems, automating, delegating, and social media marketing.
wow.
So if you look at my social media, that's the style that she teaches. So it's not about
Mm,
posting just sold, just listed. It's about posting like personal information as well as items of value and testimonials and stuff like that to really
mm,
connect on a personal level with the client. But it actually started with deciding who the niche, like who your target market is, and
mm.
then interviewing them and working back that way. So my niche is upsizers and also investment minded clients. So if you look at my social media, it's mostly talking to upsizers and
Gotcha.
outgrowing your space, selling your home, that kind of stuff.
That's very cool. How important do you think it is for an agent to start out with a niche?
I think, I guess, yeah, for me, I didn't really start with a niche. And if I look back at my sales, I had a lot of first time home buyers, which is
Mm,
great because if you can build and nurture that relationship, then when they want to sell and upgrade, then hopefully you're the person that they think of.
mhm.
I think having a niche is really important to differentiate yourself, especially if
Yes.
the market does change this year, then we need to do something to stand out from everyone else. Whereas right now, or the last 2 years, it might have been a little bit easy to find buyers, but
Exactly.
now what are we doing that's different that makes us stand out. So I do think it is important to have a niche.
Yeah. Yeah. So your niche is like you're going to be known as the upsizer agent. That's like this is exactly what I do, and that's how I'm different than others. And if someone is looking for an upsizer agent, like I'm your gal.
Exactly.
Right? And I think like that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my career when I first started. It was like I would take anything anywhere. Right. And once I said, this is what I'm willing to do, then I started to attract more opportunities just solely doing that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I think it's way better to have a niche. So younger agents, like I think if you are coming in right now, pick a niche. Either it's going to be a location or a type of property that you do, or like yours, like the demographic that you do. I think that's very, very important to differentiate yourself as the market changes. That's a really, really good point. Tell me more about coaching and mentoring. How important do you think that is in real estate sales?
I think it's really important because with a coach, they also keep you accountable. So I had a coach before that was awesome. I felt that some tactics were a little bit old school. And even when I started at my previous brokerage, it was all about, I was drawn to them because they had a lot of coaching, but everything was so old school. So I really like my new coach, how it's all about social media, systemizing, delegating, and just things that I hadn't heard of from my previous coaches. So I really think that's important to find what you like to do and want to learn, and then find a coach that teaches that, because there's so many coaches and they do teach different things. So I think it's really important to find what resonates with you and the type of, or I guess your personality. What do you want to do? Like for me, I don't want to cold call a bunch of people. So the way that I'm doing the social media marketing, people in my database that I haven't talked to in a while are starting to reach out to me. I had, I had somebody that reached out to me on social media recently, and I'm going to be helping them sell their property. And it was somebody that I hadn't talked to since high school, but we were Facebook friends. So it's not somebody that I would have just called because I didn't have their phone number. But then they came to me after months and months of posting, but it was a really great compliment. So it's nice that even if they don't comment and you can't tell if people are listening, like they are watching you. So
true. Wow. And your content is mostly, from what I see, videos.
I'm trying to do some videos. Yeah.
Okay. How important do you think video is versus a post like with just graphics or like, testimonials? What do you think is more effective?
Well, I think that testimonials are really important, and I actually would like to get some of those on video, but I haven't yet. Video, I guess the social media algorithms like video. So I think that's why we've been directed to do more video. I'm trying to get on to do some reels because they're funny. And at first I was intimidated and shy, but now that I've done a few, it's like addicting. I'm like watching reels with what's the next one that I can do for my Instagram.
Yours are really good. You're getting a lot better every time I see it. So good for you. Wow. So videos and testimonials, like just listed, just sold. You don't do a lot of that, but you do some.
I'm trying to do it more in my stories so that it's not your stories, just like a post.
Inundating your feed, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So guys, social media is key in today's world. So you're telling me you don't cold call anymore? Or have you ever cold called?
I've tried. I have cold called. If there was a listing, I would call the neighborhood and talk to people, and then I would usually plan an open house to invite them to. So then there was a reason to call them. So I have done that, and then calling leads, but that's a bit warmer. I don't do circle prospecting or anything like that. Yeah, I've tried. I'd say I've tried almost everything a little bit, but working with my database and the social media that I'm doing, I feel like it's just more natural and comfortable. And it's funny because if I sent out lots of postcards, just sold, or talked to people on the phone. And they didn't end up being my demographic. The phone numbers I could find or the people that were replying to my postcards were usually downsizers.
Oh,
But then I was looking for upsizers. So they're mostly on social media.
ah, wow. Okay, so you're very strategic about this whole thing, and it's actually, I would say calling around a listing is not really cold calling.
Right.
You're in fact, you have a real purpose. Like I'm getting the word out about my listing or the listing that I just sold, just wondering who else do you know? I think that's like more targeted instead of straight out cold calls. Have you ever called expireds or for sale by owners?
I have, yeah. The first time
Oh.
I got a door slammed in my face was for sale by owner. I got one expired listing once, so it does work, but it took a few months, and it happened to be, I first talked to them right before Easter. This was probably my second year in the business. And then I ended up giving them a flower, like a potted flower plant for Easter. And then they ended up listing with me. But
Oh my
that took
God.
a few months to get that listing. So yeah, I think it just depends what you want to do, because you could add that contact into, if you do pop buys for your database, like you could just add those expired listings that you've communicated with and add them to the list. So
Awesome. So guys, you don't have to cold call, but you have to do something. And Kaylin's niche right now is upsizers, flyers to upsizers, and social media content geared towards upsizers. I think that's very smart. And whoever follows you see that's exactly what you do. So, I mean, a lot of agents start out cold calling, but you didn't. You started with Sphere and then social media.
yeah.
You can do 50 plus deals doing that, guys. You don't need to cold call. So I want to debunk that for everyone. So, working so hard, 11 deals, 14 deals now, doing 50 plus transactions. What's keeping you going? What's your why?
My why is family and starting a family. I want to have time freedom to spend with them.
That's awesome. That's why EXP is good, because you can build multiple streams of income. I think that's why you're here too.
Yeah, at my old brokerage, I actually should have looked it up. I don't know the exact amount. I think it was between 30 and 40,000 that I paid to them my last year. And I wasn't doing a ton of, 20 something deals.
Oh,
so
wow.
There was no end in the commission split. It got smaller and smaller. But if I was doing what I'm doing now, I would be paying them even more. But my last year at EXP, I ended up getting paid to be at EXP.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay, so join EXP. Good. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. Now, if there is one piece of advice for us to move forward in 2022 and really have a good year, what do you think that advice would be for agents?
I think there's kind of two things. Delegating as much as you can. I know a lot of people are really good at, the graphic designing in Canva and organizing all their paperwork and stuff like that. But if you can delegate that off, you have so much more time to talk to more people and help more people. So that's probably the number one thing. And then also getting a coach, I think, is really important. That's definitely pushed me to hire somebody quicker than I probably would have if I hadn't had a coach.
Get a coach, guys. I waited 2 years to get a coach. I probably would have had a better start if I got a coach right away. And that's all it takes. And your first point, sorry.
Delegating.
Delegating, yes. You want to spend your time doing income producing activities instead of income servicing, right? Anything that's below like $20 an hour, you got to be delegating that out so you can go and prospect and get more transactions. Thank you so much, Kaylin. How do we reach you? How do we send you referrals in Kelowna? And if we wanted to join your team?
Well, I'd say probably the easiest way to tell you is to go to Instagram or Facebook, Kaylin England Real Estate.
Kaylin England Real Estate on IG. DM her, guys. Thank you so much for today. And you're one of the most humble people that I know. You're doing big production, and I can't be more happy for you. And,
thank you.
Yeah. So let's go have a great week. Thank you again, Kaylin. Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
See you guys.